initiate chaos theory guarantees that we'll play like lightning shots, sounding like thunder. For every time in the face that it hits us, we're faster. Well, they should know by now. Can they see? The world keeps trying to shake us. It only wakes us. The pendulum swings. The pendulum swings. It's in a beautiful darkness. Napoleon another. It's full steam ahead. Full steam ahead. All about the Betty Express. Misdirected from the start. It's a runaway train. I come a freight train. I come a freight train. In a beautiful darkness, the Betty Express. In a beautiful darkness.
Hey, you guys, as you can see, we're still waiting on, the court to actually start. I am perpetually early. It's part of my split personality of 2 type A to function and chaotic, just chaotic. So we are, if you are just joining in, we are going to be starting back with the defense on cross for this. And I think it'll be interesting to see what the defense does with this. If I were in charge of the defense, I would ask the questions of this witness I needed to ask and then try to get him basically off the stand as quickly as I can while getting the information that I need. Because I don't want the jurors seeing those pictures over and over again. And I think the defense does have a tendency to really draw out the ballistics talk. I would be against that for this, to kind of, again, get the facts out you need, but don't give us 37 questions of what a shell casing is. So that's kind of where I would say they should go. But, you never know. They have a better read and they can see the jury. They might have a better, understanding of them after voir dire. So they might have a better read on what the jury can tolerate, what they're paying attention to, what they're picking up, what they're writing down. So there are a lot of things that we are unable to kind of assess, watching on stream. That and what else was I going to say? This is the Petty Express. If you are new on my channel, generally on these trials we have wit, snark, and heart. So like Nick, I have sarcasm. We generally have a bingo card with a trial, but out of respect, this is just not a bingo trial. We do have puppy kitten breaks, about 30 seconds of just a cute little funny song. If we get into some rocky testimony, I have that available, so if you guys need it. I do have closed captions on and that kind of thing. And, we gave you a warning this morning, but again, you guys are responsible and you guys know yourselves better than I do. So if at any time this, testimony, anything becomes too much for you, take a break. I have breakdowns. I plan this weekend to do a long week 1 breakdown, and I'm not technically coordinated enough to pull up clips. So it would basically just be me reading my notes out. So again, I'm trying to offer different ways to watch this trial, because I understand how incredibly difficult this trial can be to watch. For those of you that don't know, I have 6 kiddos. Yeah, they're all mine. I was there at least. No. I was a stay-at-home mom for about 14 years, got hurt. And if you're unaware, when you're a stay-at-home mom of 6 children, you don't do a lot of sitting. Well, when I got hurt, I had to do a lot of sitting, and I found trials. And then my poor husband had to hear about these trials day after day after day. And one day, a streamer I was watching a trial with invited me on MLS, and the rest is history. I decided to make a channel. And to my kids' shock, despite not playing Roblox or doing anything fun, people watch. So thank you so much for giving me a shot if you're new here and coming over from Nick's channel. I do try to put some humor in, never toward the victims. And, this is just a harder case. So this isn't like a normal case for me. But having covered this case from Mornings with Mo, my morning news stream, to now, it just feels like one I should cover. I love that my cats are snoring so loudly, I'm worried that you're going to hear them. If it isn't the children, it's the cats making noise. Now, like I said, I think it will be interesting to see how the defense crosses this witness and how in detail they go into it, because I think they are going to want to not draw attention to the pictures as much as they can. And Slinky, Texas, fun info about Corpus. There's a life-size statue of Selena on the seawall, and it's anatomically correct with a big booty. During hurricanes, it's not unusual for a smartass to put a life jacket on her. Sounds like something I would do. Although I remember when Selena came out, and I wanted to be Selena when I grew up. So... of course, I dipped out the minute before court ended. Well, got groceries and coffee. Well, that's good. Yeah, I'm lucky that I can, sit and watch this in my comfy chair.
Hey.
And thank you, Hospice Jess, for the super chat. Hi, Mo. You're doing a great job covering this. Well, thanks to Nick for helping me out, because we were 2 days in and I was like, why, where, do what?
Yeah. I mean, it's a rough one. And yeah, we have collabed great in the past. This is one of these. This is maybe more of necessity than yeah.
Well, I also know that your and my humor is very alike. So because the last thing I want to do is my humor to, like, I don't care if, okay, this is going to sound bad. Part of me doesn't care if anyone is offended, but what I don't want to do is be an asshole about something this important and this somber.
All right.
Okay, please be seated in the court. Members of the jury, we
Examination.
have passed the witness
Our
for
client, did he
cross-examination
do that?
before
No.
our lunch break.
Thank you.
Well, yeah, that's basically what I said was, if I were the defense, I would get whatever information I need out of this. I don't think you need anything. And then I would get him the hell out of here. Don't allow the state to recross and keep bringing up pictures and showing the blood.
Yeah.
So you may proceed when ready, Mr. Goss.
Thank you, Judge. Mr. Torres, my name's Jason Goss. I know that you were a ranger and you retired, you said, a while ago, a little bit ago.
In 24.
So now you work for the State Department over in Honduras.
Yes.
Okay, so the only thing I don't know necessarily is I would normally call you Ranger, but it sounds like that's not your title. Do you have a different title that I could call you?
No, sir.
So, Mr. Torres?
I'll work.
Okay, thank you. I guess I kind of want to start where Mr. Turner left off, which was, and I'm not going too far in depth with this Hellfire trigger, or this Hellfire system for the gun. But I do kind of want to explain, because I think a lot of people would assume that if you have something on the gun that modifies it, as you said, that allows, you know, for the gun to fire more rounds, than each pull of the trigger, right? That's what the Hellfire is supposed to do.
Correct.
Fire more rounds out of the gun faster than even a human could pull the trigger. Make it more like an automatic.
Correct.
Okay, so I think a lot of people would assume that that would be a part of the gun. Do you know what I mean? And so why would it be found in a separate location? Do you know, like, what the mechanics of that is?
I know you put it behind the trigger, and as long as you press it the correct way, it'll just make the trigger bounce faster and fire like an automatic weapon.
Got it. So it sounds like what you're saying is this is kind of something that, you know, like a scope or like something else that's added to the gun, but not necessarily affixed to it. It can be taken on and off
Yes.
easily. Is that right?
Correct.
Okay. And that's something that presumably he would have been able to buy at any firearm shop, or, is it illegal or is it legal as far as you know?
It's legal.
It's legal. So, you know, and as you probably know, modifications like that allow people and monsters really like him to do the kind of things that he did, shoot a lot of rounds in a small amount of time.
Yes, sir.
Now, I want to talk about the, I want to kind of go to the, I guess 319, 320, and 321. Could I get those put up? 319 through 321? Thank you. Oh, yeah, see the exhibits. Where are the exhibits?
Right down the corner.
All of these?
I did not think, I did not know that was a legal addition.
I thought they weren't legal. I don't know enough about force multipliers, you guys. I'm going to admit my ignorance. But I didn't think those were legal. The statutes
research.
might be different in Texas.
Texas NAGR versus Garland found that certain FRTs, like rare breeds, are not machine guns under federal law. Let's see here. ATF says or FRTs makes a semi-automatic into a machine gun. But in Texas, some are. So that's kind of the wrong answer, because it's not specifically legal only in certain brands or something.
Yeah, I guess I'm not aware enough of, because I know it's a kind of
For specific
niche.
people, maybe it's for specific people it's legal, but not for the commoners. We'll have to wait for Ian's breakdown later today. Yeah.
Please, Runkle, we need help.
Yeah, don't ask Mo, and don't ask the person who comes from a country where everything is regulated.
Thank you. And yeah, Mr. Torres, I have to do that because they have all the exhibits here, but they have them in a PowerPoint here, and I don't have them in a PowerPoint the way that they do. So I'll ask them to help me out on that. So looking at, I think this is 319. We talked about this being the, I guess, the east side of the building. Judge, may I approach?
Yes.
Did you take that photograph?
No, I did not.
Okay. Which is fine. Were you ever outside the building?
No.
Okay. Well, I'm not necessarily going to ask you about that, but you are, I guess, familiar with the east and the west side of the building.
Yes.
Okay. So this is the west side of the building. The northwest side is where the shooter entered. The south side, there's an entrance there, right? And so if you were looking at that picture, we would be looking at this side of the building, the east side, right?
Correct.
That I'm pointing at. Now, there are, on this diagram, this is State's Exhibit 3. I'm sorry, 1. Is it 1 for demonstrative? Okay, there's 1. State's Exhibit 1. So these would be 111 and 112, the two classrooms where the shooter entered and was firing weapons. Now, you didn't process 112 at all.
No.
And so 111, if we're looking at this would be on the, of these two X's, can you see these two X's?
Yes.
Okay. It would be the one on the right.
Correct.
Okay. Now, the window that we're looking at, you talked about how you saw a defect that appeared to you as if it was fired inside and out. Did you say that? From inside the roof to outside. Not somebody firing from outside of the building into room 111.
Are you talking about the bottom picture?
Yeah, can we go to, I guess, the next picture up in the exhibit? We get a look, I'm sorry, yeah, the next picture down, the next one where I think it's 1, and then can we go to the next one? That one. That window and that defect. Did you see the defect inside? Did you?
The bullet hole?
Yeah, the bullet
Yes.
hole. Yeah,
Yes.
bullet hole in the window.
Yes.
Right. That's what I'm talking about.
Okay.
You saw that bullet hole from inside.
Yes.
And you felt like the bullet was going from in the room to out of the room. Or do you not know?
I don't know. No.
Okay.
No.
Did you, as any part of the investigation, because I know that, because at the time you were a ranger, and the rangers were all over the place, you would agree.
Yes.
And we've heard from, I think you're maybe the 6th ranger that we've heard from, you guys were, over the course of days, you guys were collecting evidence, photographing evidence, doing all those things to process this scene, right?
Correct.
And at the end of all of this, a lot of your findings went into a pretty large, kind of comprehensive report about what happened.
Correct.
And did you read that report?
No, sir.
You never read the report?
No.
Did you read your own report?
Yes.
Because you wrote it?
Yes.
Okay. So as far as, I guess, anything that you know about this case, was there ever any evidence that you heard of anybody on this side of the building firing into 111?
I didn't get that brief. We were just briefed with room 111.
Sure, I understand. But are you completely, like, other than what you saw in room 111, you don't know anything else, any other facts about this case?
No.
Well, let me ask you about that, because when we talked about 111, you kept saying that was the closet the shooter was in.
Yes.
But the shooter wasn't there when you got there.
No, sir.
Okay. So you would have had to know by some other information other than you looking at 111 that that was the closet that the shooter was in.
Correct.
Okay, so that's what I'm asking. Do you have any other information other than what you saw in 111 about this case?
We got the brief on room 111, and that's the only brief I got. So that's how I found out that the shooter was in the closet.
I understand.
But
But part of the brief on 111 is the brief would be that we believe that bullet hole went from in the room and out, rather than out the room and in, because that bullet hole is a part of 111. You agree with that?
Correct.
So you got a brief on 111.
Yes.
And the part of the brief was that we believe that it was a shooter shooting out of that window, not a shooter shooting inside that window.
No, sir.
Okay,
That was not part of the brief.
Okay, nobody told you about that.
No.
Did you, well, let's just assume that. Let's assume it's going from inside the classroom to out, right? Because you would agree if there was no other evidence that anyone ever fired any kind of rounds over here, which there would be if they fired rounds from that little courtyard area into that classroom, there would be, shell casings and things like that, right?
Correct.
So there's no other evidence of that, but we have tons of evidence that there was firing inside that room, obviously. Let's assume that it's from inside the room and out, okay?
Okay.
Now, when you're doing a, like a ballistics, right? So, I say ballistics, but it's really like trajectory rods.
Yes.
You've been trained how to do that.
Yes.
Were you the one that put these trajectory rods in there on this scene?
No.
Or did you just photograph?
I just photographed.
All right. In other scenes, have you been the one to do the rods and somebody else photographs it?
Yes.
Okay, so you're aware of how that works. You're aware that a lot of times, not all the time, but a lot of times you would need kind of 2 points.
Yes.
Because if you get those 2 points, you could tell that it went from this point to this point, and that gives you a trajectory.
Correct.
Right. Sometimes you don't have 2 points, but the way it fits in, we kind of heard the way it fits in can tell you something about it, maybe.
Yes.
But it's a little less accurate because you never can tell if it fit in like this a little bit or like this a little bit. You know what I mean? You can't tell with the angle unless it's just a completely tight fit. You would agree with that?
Correct.
Because it's just a loose hole, you don't know which way that the rod went unless you have another one to connect it.
Unless you have another impact.
Right,
Yes.
another impact. And so that's, maybe I'm not explaining as good, but I think you are. So, we have 1 point, we have 2 points. In addition to the rods, have you ever used any kind of laser? To take a laser, put it through a hole like that, and then see if it lines up with any defect on the outside or somewhere else?
Correct.
You've done that before?
Yes.
So you're familiar with it?
Yes.
Okay. Did you do it on this?
No.
So if you didn't do it and you had the 111 brief, do you know if it was done by anybody?
No, I don't.
Right, and what I mean by that is, for instance, you got a bullet hole in this room. You get a defect on this building. Could you, if you had wanted to, or somebody had asked you to, or somebody else there, take that laser system, shine it out of that hole and see if it would have matched up with that?
Yes.
Right. Or see if it didn't.
Correct.
Because you can shine it through and go, no, I mean the laser, because the reason we use lasers is because lasers follow the path like a bullet does.
Correct.
Bullets tend to, unless they hit something, they fly straight and go down eventually when gravity ends up taking over.
Yes.
Right, so a laser could tell you, oh, that could work, that one wouldn't work. That's impossible, that's possible, or that's possible, or that's probable, or that's impossible. It could tell you those kind of things.
Yes.
Okay. And those lasers have pretty good range on them. If they're powerful enough that they can kind of span distances. I mean, not infinite, but they can go pretty far.
Yes.
And I guess what you would see is like if I shined it right now, I mean, most of us all have seen this, but if I shined it right now, there'd be a dot on that wall up there.
Correct.
And what you'd be trying to do with that laser is kind of line it in with the hole like a rod and see like where's the laser shine.
Yes.
Again, it's not the exact same as having maybe the rods connected, but sometimes the distances are too far. You can't just build rods forever. If the distances are far, the laser's important.
Yes.
Okay. And that could be done with, if there were, I mean, kind of any time that you have a defect and then another defect that's a distance away, the laser can be used in order to see, either rule it out or say, yeah, it's possible that this is the round that caused that defect there.
Correct.
Okay. Now okay, so you talked about, because I wanted to get a little bit more information about the closet. Can we go to 322? And Your Honor, I'd just like to know, please, that I may be going through some of these photographs that I have objected to based upon the fact that they were gruesome and based upon the fact that they were unnecessary. But because the court has allowed it, I just want to put on the record that I'm going through it, but I'm not waiving the objection. so that it doesn't appear that I've waived it.
All right, go ahead.
Thank you, Judge.
That was smart to tell that to the jury. We didn't want you to see this, but the
Yeah.
court allowed it. That was smart.
Yeah.
Now, he should have done it anyway, but he could have done that outside the presence of the jury.
Well, did he also need to explain that him using those isn't him tacitly being okay with them?
Yeah. For fuck's sake. Sorry.
You're okay.
Yeah. Mr. Jingles is here, and he decided
Okay, so-
to be an asshole.
So the, we're looking at, I think it's 322. Your Honor, may I approach the or the
Yes, sir.
television? Thank you. So we're looking at 322, and this is the door. This is the door to 111, right?
Yes.
So this would be the like the outside door,
Correct.
right? This would be the door that that the students and then eventually the shooter would enter into.
Correct.
So right here on that door, that would be what looks like a door handle with like an exterior lock, or a lock that you can lock and unlock with a key.
Yes.
All right. Did you, when you were processing, did you try to lock that door?
I believe we did.
Okay. And were you able to lock it?
I don't remember. I think. Since I wasn't messing with the door and I was just taking photos,
If you don't
I don't know.
feel comfortable saying, that's okay. I don't want you to say anything you don't feel confident about. We need to make sure that everything's as right as can be. But I guess, and the reason I'm asking the question is because you would agree, as part of law enforcement, and as long as you've been doing it. So what did you do before you were a ranger?
I was in the Marines.
So you're a Marine, so you're military, thank you for your service, and then you were a ranger.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Did you do any like military police or anything when you were in the Marines?
I was an embassy guard.
Embassy guard. So you were one of the people that if, in a foreign country, if somebody tried to attack our embassy, you would be the one to protect it.
Yes, sir.
Understood. So I guess you understand then with that experience, embassy guard, law enforcement, that door locks and locks on doors, especially in schools, can significantly hinder anybody trying to get in and cause mass casualty.
Correct.
And so you know that that our schools, almost all of our schools across this country, have developed policies that no matter what, during the day, at night, students are there, nobody's there, that door remains locked.
Correct.
Right, for their protection and their safety.
Yes.
And if the lock is not able to be locked, who is responsible for making sure that that lock is functional and is able to be locked?
I'm assuming whoever the teacher or maintenance,
Sure.
somebody there.
Yeah, I mean,
I mean, whoever reports it, it has to be fixed.
right, you would agree. It starts probably with the teacher saying, my door won't lock, and then it goes work order, maybe goes to the administration, goes to the maintenance people, whatever else. But what you said is, and I agree with you, is that it is of primary importance for safety that lock is functional,
Yes.
right? Because a shooter, like in this case, a shooter, if they are delayed in getting in or cannot get in, that can give other units time to respond.
Yes, sir.
And perhaps do something before he's able to get in the room, right?
Correct.
Okay, so in your law enforcement training and experience, have you ever heard of something called a fatal funnel?
Yes.
Okay, what is a fatal funnel?
When you're involved in a critical incident and you basically lose your peripheral vision and you focus on one thing.
Right, sure. Then that's like and you're talking about kind of getting tunnel vision, but at some point, if you're trying to get into a door or hallway,
Oh, yes.
right, then what does that do? For instance, let's say multiple law enforcement, multiple officer response. Can can 5 of me standing here get through that doorway at the same time?
No, sir.
And, because it funnels us in one by one.
Correct.
Maybe 2 by 2 if you're lucky and the door is wide enough. So a lot of times that could be somebody with a shield and people behind, or just people running in one by one
Yes.
into a door. And that's why law enforcement, they call that a fatal funnel, because if somebody's set up and ready, pop, 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 they could just knock down everybody that comes in as they come in.
Yes.
Okay. Now, can we go to that second? When they gave you, and this second picture will be 362. And I don't know, in your brief on Classroom 111, where you briefed that blood we see on the ground, that was the blood of the shooter. And that was his positioning after the BORTAC team went in and a tactical team went in and shot and killed him.
No.
You didn't know that was his blood.
No, I did not.
You didn't know that was his position.
I knew that. I did not know that was his position.
Like his ending up position
Correct.
after he died.
I did not.
You're on a map approach to the television?
Yes.
Okay, but in being in that room, and one of the things, and I'm not saying, you first of all, you took pictures and you did a good job kind of going around the room, and also I know it's hard for you to take those pictures. It's hard for everybody to see. And we appreciate that you did it, you did your job. This closet here, remember that door that we talked about, the outside door we were talking about, the lock?
Yes.
Right. If we open that door, that's basically a view from opening that door. This closet is directly across.
Yes.
Right. And you know from your briefing that the shooter was in the closet when they got in there.
Yes.
Did you know also that he was in the closet with the door closed?
No.
Did you know that as they breached, it was dark, and the door opened and the shooter?
This is all based on hearsay.
Well, we're going to have everybody testify to it, and I'm not saying anything that they know that they think is untrue.
It's still based on hearsay, Your Honor.
Well, sir, if you know, you can answer. If you don't know your own personal knowledge, then tell him that, okay?
Yes, sir. Okay. So you said you did not know that. Did you know that the room was dark when they went in?
No.
Okay. Were you aware of a policy in the schools for the safety of the children that the teachers and the children are trained on, that when there is a shooter and they get an alert that there's a shooter on campus, that they are to go in, turn off all the lights, be quiet, and hide?
Yes.
Okay. So if it was dark when they came in, it would not be a surprise, because any teachers and students following that training would have turned all the lights off, been quiet, and hid.
Correct.
Right, okay. So this door, as we talked about in this little closet, is directly across from the door that we entered into. Okay. And in your briefing on room 111, were you briefed that this was the shooter's homeroom when he was in 4th grade?
No.
Okay, you didn't know that.
No, sir.
Right. Because if you had known that, or if anybody in law enforcement in that position had known that, and had known who the person was before they get into school or whatever else, or even when they're outside the school, that gives a little bit more information about maybe where he's headed. Not just randomly going into a room, but going into a room that he knows, right?
Correct.
And that's important, because if that was his home room,
Objection, Your Honor, he's testifying, he's not asking questions.
It's cross-examination. I'll overrule the objection.
if that was his home room in 4th grade, then he would know, just like any student there would know, that closet was there, right?
Correct.
If that was your homeroom or mine, and we remembered our homerooms from 4th grade, we would know the positioning if it hadn't changed, and the building hasn't changed since he was in 4th grade. But we would know that that's there. Now, a shooter who is perched there can create a fatal funnel at the entrance of that classroom.
Yes.
Right. Were you aware when you were briefed that when the BORTAC unit, that's the Border Patrol Tactical Unit, went in, they did a they basically, what they did was they tried to do like a diversionary entry where they came in and tried to distract at the same time as they were shooting, right? To try to figure out, because you got to figure out where the shooter is in the classroom.
Yes.
And it turned out he was here. They had to draw fire to do that. Were you briefed on that? No. Okay. Were you briefed on the fact that Wayne Jackson from the BORTAC unit was shot in the head by the shooter?
No, sir.
Okay. So, and that's because if you're on a stick, as they call it, you got to be on a stick because there's the fatal funnel and you can't all fit at the same time. You go into the classroom and go to the side, and Wayne Jackson is at the very end and he gets hit in the head and it turns him around. You didn't know that?
No, sir.
Okay, so it's safe to say that this shooter is a mass child murderer who wants to be a cop killer. You would agree with that?
Possible?
Based on those facts?
Yes.
As I gave it. And this shooter is, because a shooter in a mass shooting, you said you've worked several. A shooter in a mass shooting can kill themselves, right? That's something that has been done and can be done. A shooter can turn the gun on themselves.
Yes.
They can, continue to kind of roam around in the classroom and aimlessly maybe, or, doing stuff or saying stuff, or they can walk around the classroom with their gun. They can do that, right?
Yes.
Okay. They can try to escape if they can figure out or try to find a way to get themselves out so they can commit the shooting and do this horrible, tragic, terrible thing and then escape the consequences of it. They can try to do that.
Yes.
By getting out a window or even maybe trying to come through the door and shoot their way out or whatever else, right?
Correct.
But in this case, after he had committed his atrocities, he got in a closet and waited for the police to come in so that he could try to kill them, based on all the facts that you have.
Correct.
Okay. So he's a mass child murderer who wants to be a cop killer, and luckily for Officer Jackson, it hit him in the top of the head, spun him around, but didn't kill him. But had it done that, he would have been both a mass child murderer and a cop killer, right?
Yes.
Okay. So we could take that picture.
Don't bite, Mr. Jingles.
So like you said you were trained on a Leica 3D scanner,
Yes.
and one of those things is with a Leica is that right. Yeah, and we say Leica, and but I think Leica is a brand name.
It's a brand name. Yes.
What's it? Oh, I guess what's it called? What's the generic name for a Leica scanner? If you even know, I've always said Leica, but one of the other rangers said that there was a system that was out there. It was called like a Total View or something. But you've been trained on Leica.
Yes. Well,
Okay.
it's a 3D scanner.
Well, let's talk about Leica.
Okay.
And 3D scanner. Judge, may I use the well?
Yes.
So we have a, just so they know, and Gary explained it a little bit, but it's a tripod, usually.
Yes.
The scanner sits on, scans an area, and can tell you, one of the most important things it tells you is distances between things at the scene,
Yes.
right? And sometimes it may not be necessary, like you didn't do a Leica scan in 111.
No.
Right. And you wouldn't do that because the room was connected to 112 through I guess there was a door, kind of an open door, that I suppose could be shut. But those two, you could pass from 111 to 112.
Yes.
Yeah. And somebody else had the brief for 112.
Yes.
Okay. So just in general though, because I know you didn't have the briefer out here. I'm not going to try to take you too far afield. But just in general, in your forensics training, like a Leica scanner, for, say in this field, And in this area, this area, this area, this area, this area, that would tell distances between shell casings, between cars,
Yes.
between car and a building, right? Between entrances, between these cars in the parking lot. All of those things, a Leica pretty quickly would be able to scan it, get 1 million points of data, and then that's how it ends up, is we could end up saying, well, this is 15 feet from this, or this shell casing is, 10 feet from this shell casing, and this shell casing is 50 feet from that one, right?
Correct.
All right. So when we talk about this area here, I want to talk about shell casings and shell casing collection. Have you ever been part of this, Gary, what was that called, the line that they do?
Line search.
Line search. You ever been part of a line search?
Oh, yes.
Right? And you say that like yes, of course, and I've done it a lot.
Yes.
Right. So in this case, the FBI do a line search. They do a line search all the way out here, all here, looking for shell casings, right? And so the way they described it is, everybody's in a line.
Objection to comparing testimony to other witnesses, Your Honor.
I don't think that's an objection, and he's been proffered as an expert by the state.
I'll overrule the objection. Go ahead.
So they walk in a line, and I see something. Everybody stops, flag, and do that. Is that your experience the same way?
Yes.
Have you ever had to go on your hands and knees?
Yes.
And what would the reason for that be?
High grass, weeds.
Sure. You can't necessarily trust, if you're standing all the way up, you can't trust your ability to maybe see something, so you get down low to the ground.
You get down over the ground, you can use flashlights as well.
Right, sure. And so it's, you would agree that it's a thorough search, is what you're trying to do.
I would add another search, a different technique.
Which
What I
one?
would, in the past, I've used ATF canines that are specifically trained to look for shell casing, burnt gunpowder.
Right, 'cause-
Yes.
and that's interesting, because you'd have like the canine that we see at the airport that is, and maybe sometimes at a traffic stop, hopefully not, sometimes, that is trained to detect drugs, right? Cocaine. And those dogs that are trained to detect cocaine are, like, that's what they do. They detect cocaine. There's other dogs that are trained to detect bombs, and that would be really not, here's a bomb. What they're trained on is they're trained on the things that make up bombs.
Yes.
C4, other things like that would go into the bomb making, if somebody were to do that. And then you have other animals, like you talked about, these canines, that are highly trained to detect the scent of gunpowder, which would be on a shell case. Right?
Yes.
Okay. So let's assume that all the search is done the way that you feel should be done. And there are, if you look at this, I don't know if you got this from your brief, but I'll just tell you, because this is the state's map.
Objection to just telling them, Your Honor, that's not a question.
I'm just,
rephrase it, please.
yes, Your Honor. I'm just trying to orient you, because this is the state's map, and I don't know if you can see this red line. Can you see this red line here?
Yes, sir.
Okay. This is the state's map, and this is the shooter's path, and this is the culvert where he wrecked, right, at the start of this thing. Can you see that red X?
Yes.
Okay. So, a path that takes him the way that this path takes him, if shots are being fired along this path, they're being shot here, 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 here. All things considered, as an investigator, would you expect to find shell casings? Assuming they weren't picked up, assuming that they weren't moved, but a shooter shooting, as he goes this way, would you expect there to be evidence of shell casings to the right of where the shooter was?
It would depend on how he's holding the weapon.
Sure.
So he can be holding it sideways,
Right.
and the shell casing going straight up in the middle. So
That was
They can-
exactly
they can bounce
what
either way.
But I guess to go left,
what I tried to ask of the prior ones, who
start
said
ejecting out from the
almost
left,
refused.
You would
this.
have to be holding
This
it
is
upside down.
simply avoiding answering the question because
Yeah.
yeah.
Because because the fact that shells weren't found there is really damning.
Yeah.
the
Officer,
objective
trooper,
court
you
is on
are
the right side of
there
the gun
simply
when
to
the
tell
gun's
the
right
truth.
side.
Yes.
Right. So it would require somebody holding an M4 upside down and shooting to get ejection coming out the left side.
Why are you
It's possible. I
hesitating?
mean, it all depends on how the person was holding the gun. I mean, that's just a big variable.
And I agree with you, it's a big one. But we can say, ejector port to the right, shell casing go to the right.
Right,
Right. Unless it's upside down, and then it would eject out to the left.
right.
Not a common way to
No.
use an M4, right? Maybe here, to the side, up, and the power is making it go up. But either way, all of this we're talking about, right or left.
Right.
You'd expect them to be somewhere around here,
Yes.
if you were shooting around here. Okay. And shell casings that are here and here would be consistent with this, with, you know, even from their own map, would be consistent with somebody firing along this route and this route.
Yes.
Right? Oh, easy. Judge, I'll pass them.
Mayor, to be exposed to a fatal funnel, do you have to go to the fatal funnel?
Yes,
If you don't approach the fatal funnel, you're not exposed to a fatal funnel.
correct.
I couldn't see because I was sitting right directly behind Mr. Goss. He was talking about the shot coming from 111. Could you point that out, just in general terms about what that we're talking about? Your finger's there on the east side of the wing. And then he was talking about a building that it could have gone to. That building there?
Yes.
Okay. Just want to make sure I understand that.
See how easy you can answer questions when it comes from the prosecution.
Okay, thank you.
And when you were the crime scene worker in this case, you picked up casings, correct? And fragments of bullets or bullets,
Yes.
and defects.
Yes.
And what's a defect?
Where a round makes an impact on an area, or a desk, a wall.
That's pretty standard stuff, right? If a bullet hits something, it leaves an impact and you can see it.
Yes.
And have you ever known a bullet to go through a solid object without leaving an impact?
Correct, no.
Okay. Pass the witness.
Just, you know, as far as approaching the fatal funnel, I mean, you know, all law enforcement is taught to be very cautious about a fatal funnel because a dead police officer doesn't help anybody, right?
Correct.
I mean, one police officer after another going in and dying and stacking up in front of that door is not going to save any of those children.
We're taught to get away from the fatal funnel.
Right. I'll pass it.
No further question.
Recall for this witness, either side?
Your Honor, this witness is out of country. I hope we can let it go.
Yes, Your Honor, and I do understand that. I don't want to keep him in, and I know he's got important work to do out of the country, so.
Your excuse, sir, thank you.
Thank you.
Out of the country witness, okay.
He works with the State Department in Guatemala, I believe.
Okay.
Approach as he's coming, Your Honor. Okay.
Just checking, so Guatemala doesn't have a civil war. It kind of happens in that region from time to time.
Um, if they, I can't keep track anymore.
Let's see here. Protest in 2020, protest in 2023. So yeah, if there is unrest every 3 years, it's about to happen.
Well, he might also be with the embassy because he
Oh.
used to do embassy work, so he might be head of embassy security now or something.
Ah. Well, if we
we ever
see
make it
people
to
dancing in the
Guatemala?
background with flags, we kind of know that's yeah.
Jen the Couch Fairy, you didn't miss much. The defense got their cross in. They talked about the fatal funnel. They talked about how the shooter actually, his homeroom was the room that he was hiding in. So kind of implied he understood the layout of the classroom and was able to effectively, set himself up to target anyone coming in the doors. And then the state went into redirect and they basically just went over casings. Now the defense in their cross did talk about the fact that the state's kind of path that they want the jurors to believe that the shooter took, there's no casings along that path. There's casings further to the north that would have put him further away from Adrian. But again, with the claims that he was shooting towards the playground, there are no casings along that route.
Mm-hmm.
We're not sure.
No, yeah, not sure. There's new information pops up every time. I was under the impression that he didn't attend this school at all.
Well, yeah, I don't think that was released to the public, at least not that I'm aware of.
Would you raise your right hand? You do solemnly swear the evidence in the testimony given the cause will be the truth, so help you God.
I do.
All right. Have a seat over here. Adjust that microphone if you need to.
Tell us your name.
Brent Barina.
And what do you do, sir?
I'm a lieutenant with the Texas Rangers.
And how long have you been with the Texas Rangers?
I promoted in October of 08, so a little over 17 years.
What did you do before you were a Texas Ranger?
I was a highway patrol trooper for about 5.5 years from 2000 to 2005, and then I worked in our criminal intelligence service for about 3 years before that, or after that.
So how long have you been in law enforcement?
Almost 27 years.
And do you have any specialties in law enforcement?
A crime scene investigation.
Were you called out to Uvalde on May 24, 2022?
Yes, I was.
For what purpose?
The interior, different sections of the interior of the crime scene inside the building.
And did you also conduct searches or crime scene on outside of the building, specifically as to the room 24?
Yes, I did.
Okay. And that's the one I want to kind of focus on right now, if I could, okay?
Okay.
What drew your attention to room 24?
Myself and Ranger Scott Swick had noticed that there were some cartridge cases flagged. I guess we would have been to the south of the main building where the shooting occurred, And it indicated that there might have been some shots fired towards building 24. So we went in that area and started inspecting some buildings in that area.
And so from the casings, you started looking for buildings in which those casings could have deposited bullet entry.
Correct. We were looking for structures that might possibly have a bullet defect on them.
And did you find any with a bullet defect on it?
We did, yes.
And how did you confirm that it was a bullet defect?
It visually looked like one, and then we use what we call 3M lead check. It's a swab that you can test for lead. It has a activator and a dye that mixes, and when it's swabbed onto a surface that has lead, it'll give a kind of a pinkish purple color reaction.
And did you document that?
Yes, I did.
Did you document it with photographs?
Yes, I did.
May I approach you? Yes.
Yeah, so they are having a trial against the shooter,
34 through 645.
but with not the shooter as a defendant, more or
Yeah.
less. Yeah. I assume the defense will bring, because the town said nobody did anything wrong, all the agencies said nobody did anything wrong. Well, not did anything wrong, but not at fault to a degree of criminal
Yes, I do.
conduct.
State tenders exhibit 634 through 645, and officer for admittance.
Oh.
No objection, Judge.
They're admitted.
May we display?
Yes.
Ranger, if you need the pointer to help you point things out to the jury.
Thank you.
Showing your state's exhibit 634, will you give us just a general description of what we're looking at?
Yeah, that's an overhead view showing the main building where the shooting was, and then down towards the lower right where the white roof is. That's classroom 24.
And would you point out classroom 24?
Your Honor, may I approach? Please. This will be classroom 24.
Thank you. And your testimony was you started from a point where there was a series of casings, is that correct?
It is correct, yes.
And you looked in a direction where that may leave an impact on a building.
Yes, correct.
So showing you exhibit 635. Can you tell us, is that generally where you were talking about? Excuse me. Can you tell us in general terms, is that the area where the casings were and the area you were looking for impact?
Yes, we were looking. They were in that general area, and then that's kind of where we started taking photographs towards building 24, looking for an impact, a defect in that direction.
Okay. And the red X, is that a place that shows where the photograph 636, the next photograph, general terms, where that photograph was taken?
It does, yes.
Well, you show 636. And looking at exhibit 636, can you tell us where the building is that you ended up searching or finding an impact?
Your Honor, may I approach?
Yes.
It would be this. It's this building right here, this tan building, just to the left of that Chevrolet truck.
And exhibit 637. What are we looking at now?
It's just as the photographer's walking forward closer to building or classroom 24.
So you just close in with your photographs until you get right up to it?
Exactly, yes.
And exhibit 638?
Yeah, same building, just as we're getting closer to that building, photographing it.
And 639?
Same, now we're getting right up on it.
Okay. Did you find an impact?
I did, yes.
And what is the ladder there for?
It was a ladder I had that we used to get up to the height so we could photograph it and use the lead check swab to access that defect.
Okay. So that's the ladder you had to get to the impact?
Correct, it is.
And exhibit 640, would you tell us what that is?
That's us getting a little bit closer to it.
Okay. And I want to take just a minute while we're still out a little bit. Can you tell us the nature of that material that the building is made of?
Yes, it's it's a sheet metal.
And does the sheet metal have ridges or different ins and outs of that sheet metal?
Yeah, I refer to it as kind of corrugated. It has ridges and, kind of peaks and valleys.
Okay. Point out for us where your ladder is. Point out to us a peak and point out us a valley.
You're on the map. I would consider this kind of a peak and then a valley on this side, valley peak.
So the peak is where the ladder two legs straddle it? Is that correct?
That's correct, yes.
And then just to the right, there's another peak
Correct.
of the same size?
Yes, correct.
And to the left, is there another peak of the same size?
Yeah, it looks like where the conduit's attached to, yes.
And that pattern repeats itself all the way down the wall, is that correct?
It does, yes.
And so the peaks are raised and the valleys are lowered or further away?
That's correct, yes.
And not only, and is there an impact in Stakes Exhibit 640?
Yes, there is.
And is it in a peak or a valley?
It's in what I would call a valley, yes.
Okay. Would you show the jury again where the peak is?
Yes. The peak would be over here, and then the valley would be here.
The valley being recessed, about how far?
Maybe an inch, approximately an inch, something like that.
Okay. And did you point out the impact for the jury?
Yes, it would be this area right here.
And what you're holding is that, what is that?
That's the 3M lead check that we use to test if it tested positive for the presence of lead.
Okay. And just to the left of that valley where the impact is, what is that?
It looks like a conduit, like a plastic piece of conduit pipe.
Can a bullet go through a piece of conduit like that without leaving an impact wound?
It could if it just kind of grazed it and skipped off of it. If it actually hit it straight on, it could go through it, or it could fragment.
Was there any impact on the left side of that conduit?
Not that I could clearly see. I mean, I can't rule out the possibility that it did impact that, and then the round fragmented, and then went through the surface, the metal surface.
I guess what I'm asking is, in your inspection of impacts, did a bullet travel through that PCV pipe and then enter that valley?
Not that I can tell. If it did hit the PVC pipe, it would have been on the edge closest to the impact site.
Excuse me, I didn't understand you.
I said if it did impact the PVC pipe, it would have, or the conduit, it would have been on the side closest to the impact site on the metal.
That being the right-hand side?
Correct. Yes, correct.
So the only impact you saw at all was on the right-hand side of the PCV, if you saw it at all?
That's correct. Yes.
Not on the left-hand side?
No.
So do you have an opinion as to whether or not a bullet came from the left-hand side through the PCV, into the valley, and then into the building?
Yes, my opinion would be that it may have possibly struck the right side of the conduit and then into the sheet metal.
But not the left side?
That's correct, yes.
How can they be sure this mark on the wall isn't from something else?
Use the pointer one more time.
Okay, and I mean, maybe I am naturally blonde under this. Is the metal that they use to make the, sheet metal buildings, does that contain any bit of lead? I mean, could that have been a false positive? Are there things that would give this
Yeah.
a false positive? Is there a high iron count in the rainwater? I I mean, I'm not a genius, but maybe the defense will ask.
And Tammy, yes, the defendant here had his firearm. Ow! Stop biting.
Could you show us again where
You just got
room number
pulled.
24 is?
Right here.
And where is that impact site?
It's on this west side right here.
And then is room 111 back on the east side of the fourth grade wing?
It is, yes.
And so could a bullet coming out of room 111 make that impact without impacting the PCV pipe on the left-hand side?
In my opinion, no.
But could that same impact come from the position you saw the casings?
It could, yes.
And that's why you took pictures of it?
Correct, yes.
Well, approach her.
Okay, Nick, quick question. You are the prosecutor in this case. You have given up your morals, but not your intellect. Would you get the lead detective to kind of just have the lead detective basically come up, the chief over all of the Texas Rangers? Or would you have all these granular witnesses?
I would have the granular witnesses, because then they have plausible deniability about other aspects of the case.
So this isn't a plot to test if my ADHD can be treated without medicine while I just take notes.
Now this is attack. If you don't want somebody with the overall picture testifying, you get the different legs of the elephant to testify, because none of them knows really what the other leg is doing.
Okay. I was wondering, I was like, none of this makes sense. No one has any idea what the hell they're investigating or why.
Yeah.
Yeah, but if you go granular, then you risk that it appears that you guys did a really craptastic investigation.
Yeah, but crap investigation is better than a person with an overall picture who can be cross-examined about all the aspects of the investigation, including the part where the defendant did okay.
Fair point.
Yeah.
I'm doing this like the prosecutor has ethics when I told you know to drop yours.
Now I'm thinking, if this was a case prosecuted by Adrian Love from the YSL trial, that is what she would have done. But she would have also had people up there who lied, and she would have had people who had actually no idea what they were doing, but were good at pretending to know what they were doing. These guys know what they are doing, but not really why.
Ooh, why are we going out of the room?
I don't know. Is this... Oh, please say it's new information.
You have got to be crapping me.
I don't know. But this is
You can sit it in the courtroom, thank you.
in the middle of the testimony. There's a sidebar. No? No, no,
No.
we want to hear this.
Oh my God, did the jury say we will not sit through another hour of testimony about shell casings?
Yeah. If you do this, this will become a crime scene. No.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Mutiny on the jury. We are the captain now.
If you don't stop me, I will start a daycare. I'm the daycare center now.
I know. I was over here having all the children. I didn't realize there was an option. I'm over here filling a daycare instead of, benefiting from one. And I have wigs now. I could just dress my kids up in different wigs.
Please don't dress your kids up as Somalians.
No. First of all, how dare you assume I'm not? That's a racism right there.
Did I do that?
See, that's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to brazen my way through it.
Nike quality. Yeah.
You know what's sad is, since I'm dyslexic, I probably wouldn't have caught that. I've just been...
Oh.
No, that's why I got married, so I could tell my right from my left, because if you're dyslexic, both could be L.
Or if your husband wants to confuse you, he right, left, but on the wrong shoes.
No, my kids already do that. We had to cut up a sticker so my kids would see, like, oh, it goes together like this. Instead of like don't they feel weird when you have them on the wrong feet? Yeah, I don't know.
Oh. But imagine this. You could have run a daycare center, claimed you had 30 kids, and made millions.
Yeah, but that would require me to know paperwork and email and stuff.
Yeah.
And
yeah,
you know
that's
what?
true.
What, funnily enough, you don't have time when you do already have those 6 kids is learn a new skill. Defraud the government. You've run out of time. I had a bucket list.
Oh.
Thank you. I thought I was the only person that did that because I'm bad with directions. So that's why my husband drives, because if not, I'll tell him, okay, turn toward the driver door. Okay, now turn toward my door. And he's like, or left or right would work. And I'm like, I don't do that.
Yeah. My mom could not for the life of her distinguish tell right from left. So way back when I was a kid, we had road maps. No GPS. It wasn't invented. Shut up.
No, we had MapQuest. We printed out a map, 8 pages, and then we prayed to God we made it somewhere.
Mom I remember this so clear. Mom going, yeah, take the next right. Dad took the next right. No, I meant the other right.
That's why I got the map taken away from me, because my mom decided I would be the navigator. And this was before we realized that I am the reincarnation of the leader of the Donner Party.
Oh.
Which I would like to say, look, I was trying to get to California in my defense. Just that up-down thing that really got me.
Oh.
Oh, please tell me that
they are back, so you can skip ahead a bit.
Oh, awesome.
Well, whatever it was not a Brady violation, or? Maybe it was just more pictures.
Okay, please be seated. Okay, again, we've taken a matter up outside your presence, ladies and gentlemen, so you may proceed. Mr. Turner?
I would be interested to get the transcript.
Did you thereafter go inside room 24?
I did, yes.
And the State's Exhibit 642 show us the entry then into room
Yeah, yes,
24.
It does, yes.
And tell us what we're looking at in Exhibit 643.
That's the entry door to classroom 24.
Yeah, 643.
That would be the interior, that would be facing the west wall, the same wall that the defect would have been on the outside.
And there's in the next exhibit, 644. What are we looking at here?
That's a close-up of us pointing the camera up through the ceiling tile, and you can kind of see the hole from the inside of the classroom.
And State's Exhibit 645.
That's us up into the ceiling, through the ceiling panels, getting a close-up of the interior side of that defect.
Thank you. Now, that was not all you did in the case, is that correct?
It's correct, yes.
And did you also have an opportunity to go into rooms 111 on that very first day?
I did, yes.
And at that time, were there still the remains of this shooting in that room?
Yes, when I got, the time I got there, when I went to 111, the only body that was inside the 111 was the body of the suspect.
Okay. And does the body of the suspect show his relationship to his gun?
Yes, approximately, yes.
And does it show how he was dressed?
It does, yes.
So as to compare to eyewitnesses who may have seen a gunman?
Yes.
Going next to 734. And you can go ahead and go to 735 now. And I'll just ask you, we just saw 734. Is that a fair and accurate depiction of the man in black?
Yes, that's how I found him, yes.
And State's Exhibit 735, does that show him in relationship to a weapon?
It does, yes.
And would you show us where that weapon is?
On your monitor, may I approach? The weapon, the rifle is right here in the closet on the back wall.
Okay. And about how far from his feet?
I'd say within less than 2 feet.
Okay. And moving now into room 112 from 111. No photographs. We have no photographs of that, but you did see it?
I did, yes.
You did observe it?
I did, yes.
And would you describe for the jury what you saw?
When you walk in the main entry door from the hallway, there was a lot of deaths that were kind of clustered up, scattered around, and then there was a concentration of deceased bodies kind of in that the northwest corner of the room.
A concentration of deceased bodies?
Yes.
And were they adults or children?
There was children and one adult.
One adult and children.
Yes.
And were they clustered away from the door?
Yes, if you were to walk in the entry door, they were to the left in that corner to your left.
And were they away from the windows?
They were, yes. They were on the opposite side of the room from the windows.
Pass the witness.
Is it Verena?
Yes, it is.
My name is Nico LaHood. I'm one of the lawyers representing Mr. Gonzalez. I'm going to ask you some questions.
Okay, yes, sir.
You've testified for board.
Yes, sir.
Okay,
Yes,
so
sir.
you know how this works.
Yes, sir.
So are you familiar with the Hellfire trigger system?
I'm not, no, sir.
Okay. You've never heard anything about it?
No, I heard briefly them talking about it. I wasn't responsible for those two classrooms as far as the crime scene processing, but I heard talk about it, but I'd never seen one or actually knew what it did. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
In your duties as a ranger, have you done any training in firearms?
I have done some, yes.
You understand that there's some things you can put on a trigger to make it move faster and shoot faster.
I have heard that. I don't have any experience with it though, but I have heard there are some things.
But you've done tactical training yourself?
It's limited. I'm not more on the tactical side. I'm kind of a crime scene guy. I've done some, but very, very limited.
Do you do trajectory analysis?
I do, yes sir, I do.
Okay, so as part of your experience in trajectory analysis, you have to understand how to handle a weapon, how it's shot, how it functions, to actually give a better opinion of your assumptions you're making, right?
Yes.
Okay, and when it comes to trajectory analysis, other rangers have testified to this, it's really an educated guess of what you're trying to put together.
Well, there's a little margin of error, but if there's a perforating defect in the surface and then a secondary one, then that's a good candidate defect for a flight path ride. And it'll give you a good ballpark estimate of some location of the shooter. There are some margin of error.
Well, the fact that you said ballpark means that it's not exact science.
It's not exact, yeah. There is a little margin of error, yes, sir.
And well, other rangers said it's possible. They use a lot of words like possible, right?
Yes.
Okay. So we're talking about possibilities. Now, you've heard of a misfire. Have you heard of someone misfiring a weapon?
I have, yes.
And misfiring a weapon has to do with trigger control. You understand what trigger control is, right?
I do, yes.
Okay, so trigger control is making sure that your finger is in a safe position and not hovering inside the trigger guard, correct?
Are you referring to an accidental discharge or a misfire?
Well, okay, fair enough. Let's talk about accidental discharges
Okay.
then. Okay, what is indexing your finger on a weapon?
It's keeping your finger off the trigger.
May I stand up, Judge? Okay, so we don't have a blue gun, but I'm not gonna ask for one of theirs. So there's a trigger in a weapon, and we're talking about a handgun first, and then there's a trigger guard around the trigger, right?
Yes, that's correct.
And then and this applies to a long rifle or a handgun, correct?
It does, yes.
And so when someone indexes, if law enforcement or if anybody training with a weapon is taught to index, you are taught to keep your finger outside the trigger guard, and if this is my trigger, I don't want to be in the trigger, I want to be outside the trigger guard.
Yes, if you're indexing, then your finger should not be in the trigger guard on the trigger.
And so trigger discipline references not being lazy about having your finger, because you hand a child a gun, they automatically, most people, even not children, will grab that handle and then put their finger inside the trigger guard.
I can't accurately say that, but that's possible.
An untrained person with not proper trigger discipline could potentially do this.
That's possible, yes.
Okay. And so many people that are not trained well, they automatically put their finger in that trigger guard, and that could create as you said, a misfire or an accidental discharge.
Accidental discharge,
Okay.
yes.
And so there's no way for you to tell in your analysis of trajectory analysis whether somebody does an accidental discharge or whether it's an intentional discharge.
No.
Right. And so if we can we look at, I think, is it 636 and 637, the pictures you guys had? I think it's exhibit 636 and 637. Bill, do you have them or? Who does? Who does he show them?
I was doing 7.
You don't have the number on it? No. Oh, got it. It is, can I see the ones you have, 636 and 637?
They're probably up there.
May I approach, Judge?
No?
The ones you showed him, Bill.
Oh, that's 700.
Okay, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
They are talking about everything but the inactivity of the defendant. Anything.
I mean, my best guess as to why we're talking about trigger discipline, the crazy jackass who did this seems like the kind of moron that would run with his finger on the trigger. I don't know. I have no idea what the hell we're talking about or why, but we are here.
Yeah.
Audio assault.
Mm-hmm. Please make this today's final, so I can prepare for my
Yeah,
slightly
Judge, let us
bust.
go at let us go at like 3. It's
Yeah.
Friday.
This is State's Exhibit 636 in evidence, but in the PowerPoint, it's whichever one they have. So this is 636. You testified to this earlier to the government, correct?
I did, yes.
May I push, Judge? And so I think kind of the question they were asking you was they were trying to talk to you about the trajectory path from this place in the parking lot to building room 24. Do you remember those questions?
Yes, yes.
In a hypothetical, if somebody was intending from this west side, this is the west side of Robb Elementary,
Yes, I did.
and you know now that the murderer came in here and shot all the way up until he entered the building.
I do, yes.
And thank you, Slinky, for the 5 gifted memberships. And those went to Everything is Fine Over Here, Sadie, the fart bag lady. I like it. Spinster, UK Anton, Southern Red Sox girl. And, well, congratulations. Welcome to the Church of Mo. We are not yet a 501c3, so feel free. Well, okay, usually I would grift and say, feel free to grift to my 100% for-profit charity. And that's kind of what my brain remembers every time I say it. So, no grifting today, but that's generally what I say.
Mm.
And it's if somebody was approaching to shoot at that side of the building and had poor trigger discipline or just an eagerness to want to hurt people, they could have accidentally discharged as they were coming up and coming across to shoot at the west side of the building, correct?
Yeah, that's possible.
That's a bit of a stretch.
There was one defect in that.
And that's my point. How many defects were there?
There was one.
One defect. So if somebody took the position that this murderer fired multiple rounds to the south side of the building over here, it would fair to say there should be way more than one defect.
Well, I mean, there was a possibility he could have fired over to the left or to the right. We just didn't find those defects. There's a possibility he could have fired more. All I found was one. So all I can say was there was at least one. There could have been more.
Well, whose responsibility was it to find if there were more?
I'm sorry?
Whose responsibility would it have been to find if there were more defects?
It was mine.
Okay. Did you find more defects?
Not in that classroom, no. Like I said, there could have been more that went out in the open air and landed in the ground somewhere way out there.
But at the time you found that one defect, you weren't told to look at room 24, correct? You were just looking for defects.
Yes, that's
right.
correct. Yes.
So you looked at all the buildings, did you not?
Yeah, in that line of sight, yes.
Right.
Yes.
And you could have looked behind the buildings too. I'm sure you looked behind them.
We searched that entire area, yes.
That entire area you searched?
Yes.
And you found one defect?
That's correct.
Okay.
Yes.
So back to my original question. If somebody made the claim that they were standing further down to the south side of the building, close to the east side, and that the murderer fired multiple shots at this person, you should have found more than one defect.
Yeah, well, I can't say that again.
Can we talk about probabilities?
Sure.
More likely than not, you should have found more defects.
It's probable, but again, like I said, there could have been where he shot over, depending on how he had the gun held, if he was, and what the angle of the barrel. So something could have went over. I can't say he fired multiple. All I can say was that for sure, and certainly was that there was one round fired in that direction. All I can say.
Well, one round went in that direction. It doesn't mean it was intended to go there, right?
Exactly.
Okay, so this, but my question is, bullets don't just disappear, right?
I'm not sure your question.
Well, I mean, but if somebody, I gave this example to another ranger. On New Year's, we're told not to shoot guns up in the air, right? You've heard that safety announcement?
Yeah, sure.
Right? Why is that a foolish thing to do?
Because it could come down and hit somebody.
What comes down?
The projectile.
Right, they don't just disappear.
Yeah.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
Right.
So if somebody shoots projectiles, multiple projectiles in this direction, there should be probably more defects than one.
Well, I mean, they could go over, and when they come down, they could end up inside the dirt.
Okay, metal detectors are a thing. I mean, I know it's not a leaf blower, but if we were really, confused as to whether there were multiple bullets fired over this area.
And to my knowledge, at the other side of that are more buildings. Did anybody report of gunshots?
Well, yeah. He's like, I don't know. I mean, there could be like, yes, in the potentiality of the multiverse, everything is possible. I'm tired of these nebulous answers. Like, if gravity isn't a thing, if it's the leap year.
We just don't see them. That's a possibility that I can't rule out.
But bullets don't loop, do they?
Well, there's a parabolic. Once they come up, they're shot in a parabolic arc. So once they go over, they're gonna arc and come down. They could go into the ground.
If somebody's on the ground, if somebody makes the claim while they're on the ground that somebody shot at them from this angle multiple times, there most likely probably would be some defects on these buildings. Right?
There could be. Yeah, I mean, like I said, all I can certainly say is there was one. That's all I can say.
Just one.
Yeah. Anything else I'd be speculating.
Okay. And I don't want you to speculate.
Yeah.
And so
Texas
if somebody
Ranger.
is intending to shoot this side of the building and they had poor trigger discipline and an evil intent to hurt people, they could get over anxious and they could accidentally discharge up as they're coming across, because we know for sure there were many defects on this side, right?
Yes, there were.
Have you heard of a ricochet?
I have, yes.
Explain to the jury what a ricochet is.
Ricochet is where the projectile strikes a surface and then usually at a low angle, and then it ricochets off and continues its flight path past that point.
And so when a bullet hits an object, and when you do this in trajectory analysis, that's called an intermediary object, right?
You talking the surface it hits?
Yes, sir.
Yes, it is.
That's right. And then that bullet can do something else.
Oh yeah, yes, can.
Was there a laser trajectory done from the spot we're looking at in Exhibit 636 to that one defect?
There wasn't, because that defect was not a candidate to put a flight path rod in, because there wasn't a secondary or a defect for us to run a rod through and attach a laser to, so it wasn't a candidate for it.
Was not a candidate for,
Yeah,
okay.
yes, sir.
So was that defect on the higher part of the building or the lower part of the building?
It was on the higher part.
And so if somebody on the ground said that shooter fired multiple shots at that person as they're on the ground, or at least standing on the ground, it's less likely that defect would be high up on near the ceiling, near the roof, right?
It depends on how they were holding the weapon and what the angle of the barrel was.
I said multiple rounds, remember that? So there should be more than one defect.
Yeah, and again, all I can tell you is there was one. I didn't see any more than one.
Fair enough. Now we saw that picture of the suspect in Exhibit 734, I believe it was. You recall that?
I did, yes.
That person lying on the ground, and I'm not going to show that picture again.
Okay.
That picture of that animal lying on the ground, that person is the one responsible for stealing those children, right?
He is the one that shot him, yes.
Pass the witness, Judge.
Mr. Brainerd, Ranger Brainerd, the weapon the gunman was using, you're familiar with it?
I am, yes.
And the round that he was shooting?
Yes.
What's the distance on those? How far can they go?
I would say at least 150 meters.
150 meters? Okay. And
What?
if they strike the dirt?
That 100 to 150 meters, that 100 to 150. Is this guy actually saying that gun with those bullets can only reach 100 to 150 meters? If
I thought it
shot
was-
at an angle, they can shoot a mile.
Well, that's what I thought, but I'm not good with math or, I guess, again, distance.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
He's from Texas. Is this really in Texas? I'm beginning to feel like I've been lied to about the force multiplier culture in Texas.
A decent slingshot will get you 100 meters. And he's saying that an semi-automatic, high-powered rifle, 100 to 150 yards. If there is anybody in that jury, which there will be, who knows guns, knows they will travel further than 100 to 150 meters.
Would you be able to find it?
Probably not.
And if they're shot over the building, would you be able to find it?
No, probably not.
And on that exhibit that's in front of you now, to the left of that building, could you tell us what it's composed of? To the right of the building, excuse me.
Where the fence is?
Yes.
Yeah, I think that was the air conditioning HVAC units.
No, I'm sorry. Would you approach, let me go.
This is where
But
the building was struck, is that correct?
the witness said
That's correct, yes.
puffs
And all the way across here,
of
what is
dirt,
this?
meaning ricochet.
Is there any way?
Now
we
that
can
would
recover defect in
drastically
an open
reduce
field?
how far they will go.
The probably would be very slim, no.
And if shot above the building 24, was there a defect there that would have been recoverable by you?
Can you repeat the first part of the question?
Shot above the building, would you have been able to recover a defect shot above the building?
If it went over and into the grass, no, it probably would be very low to recover that.
And to the right of the building, do we have open field also?
We do, yes.
And the same question about likelihood of recovery.
Yeah, it'd be a low probability, same likelihood, yes.
We were just told by the last witness that the ATF has dogs that can smell the gunpowder.
Yeah.
So are you telling me that Texas Rangers were defeated by tall grass?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Absolutely.
When it comes back to our math poster, back to our hypothetical, if that same person that claims that the shooter from this position shot multiple rounds at them, and they're further down, you have this HVAC unit and all the fence that would be at the very least concealment, maybe even some cover for them, right?
For who?
Someone behind it, someone on the south side of the wall, I mean, of this building.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Right?
Yeah, it's possible, yes.
Well, I mean, it's not possible that's there, this is in the way.
Well, are you talking about the HVAC units as cover or the?
Yes, sir, if in our hypothetical, if the person's behind it, they would have to shoot through the HVAC units to try to hit them.
Well, again, it depends on how they're holding the weapon.
Yeah.
What?
Okay, well, explain that to me.
Well, if the person's if they're holding it at the hip and the barrel's aimed up, they could get over those HVAC units fairly easy.
Well, unless you have to be
No.
20 feet tall, right? I mean, what if the
Wait,
person is just regular?
Wait, he's holding the weapon like Ripley did when she shot, the alien mother and said, "No, you're not going to have her, heifer."
Yeah, but does it actually believe he can, the bullet, if fired through an AR type weapon, in an angle, it will loop and land within 100 yards? This is for fuck's sake. How is this person allowed near a gun?
How is he an officer in Texas? That's it. I'm going to need to see his Texas card because holy God.
I'm no Ian Runkle, but I think that we
need to get Ian Runkle on with us because
it's not.
This is not lawn darts.
No.
Well, I mean, this is what pisses. So you're telling me that everyone was really, really worried and wanted to investigate the best they could, and they couldn't get a fucking dog out there or a metal goddamn detector, but everyone wants to say they did their best by these children? I'm sorry, that's bullshit, and this is bullshit. Sorry.
Looping over those air vent thingy 70 yards away to hit somebody looping over.
This is not the Angelina Jolie movie where you swing your arm and the freedom seed bends. Oh, God, I can't. Let's just get through this.
Yeah.
I have right people. I mean, it doesn't lob. You can't. It's not a grenade, right? You can't lob a bullet. It shoots very direct, right?
No, not, I mean, the trajectory is based on how the weapon's hold. You can, well, I've seen many shootings where they hit the weapon and fired high, and a lot of their rounds were inaccurate because they had it at the hip and were shooting way high.
I'm not talking about inaccuracy. I'm talking about probability of hitting somebody because they're behind these HVAC unit. If someone's behind this HVAC unit, they'd have cover from the HVAC unit, right?
They would, yeah.
So the shooter would have to, excuse me, the shooter would have to move out to the right of the HVAC unit, or however they're holding it, to try to shoot that person behind the HVAC unit, right?
If they were behind the HVAC unit, I would think so, yes.
Well, in my hypothetical, this person is behind the HVAC unit, okay?
Okay.
Okay, so like you're behind the desk. Let's say that desk is covered and I wanted to shoot you in the leg. If that's true cover and could protect your legs, I can't shoot your leg.
Probably not, no.
Question for the defense: can he shoot one of us in the leg so we can go home? God.
I'm so happy I'm doing the Wheel of Regrets later, because I need
I am going to have an adult beverage, and generally I don't, because I joke about drinking much more than I do.
Oh.
I have no idea.
Yeah.
When Morpheus asked us whether to take the blue pill or the red pill, we picked purple, and this is what we got.
Both.
Yeah.
Handful.
Pretty much. We're like, whatever you got.
Yeah, because I can't see your leg.
Yeah, well, it depends on if it's hard or soft cover. If it's hard cover and it would stop around, then yes, you wouldn't be able to shoot my leg. But if it's plywood or something,
I'm going to throw
metal,
jingles at this guy.
Possibly hit your target.
So you don't know this yet, but we've already explained to the jury the difference between cover and concealment.
Okay.
So the material, this is concealment. This is not cover.
Right, exactly.
Let's assume this is cover.
Okay.
If I wanted to shoot your legs, I'd have to move around to shoot your legs, right?
Yes.
So same thing with these HVAC units. If there's someone behind the HVAC unit and I'm shooting from this place, I'd have to move around the HVAC unit to get line of sight on you to shoot you.
You would, yes.
That's right.
Yeah, that's correct, yes.
And so if that happens,
Jesus Christ,
and the
how
shooter was
can
further
that be
to the
so
right
hard to
because
answer?
in that hypothetical, that person is being shot at, we would see evidence of the person, the shooter, firing from the right.
It's possibly.
If someone made that claim and you and I were prosecuting that case, what evidence would we present to a jury that somebody shot at someone behind that HVAC unit?
I guess we don't understand your question.
Would we bring shells and shell casings? Because we're making a claim that someone took a shot at them and they had a line of sight. If somebody was further to the right, should there be shell casings here if we're making a claim like that?
There could be, but again, ejection pattern analysis is not always accurate, because if they manipulate the gun any kind of way, it can change that pattern, and if they're moving or the weapon's moving, then it can change that pattern. So it's possible, but I can't say for sure that would be an indicator of it.
Are you aware that there were shells found on this side of the building?
Yeah, my recollection, there was some there, and there was some on the other side of the gravel driveway, I believe, also that were marked.
What gravel driveway?
The one there, I believe.
No, sir, you're wrong about that.
Okay.
So it's just right here, right?
Okay.
Right on the edge.
Okay.
So that's my point. So if we found,
That's a misstatement of the law, of the facts.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, the jury, what the lawyers say in their questions is not to be
Construed as fact, so therefore if it differs based upon your recollection, rely on your own recollection. Go ahead.
thank you, Judge. And so as we recall, we remember that there are shells up and down this,
Yes, sir.
kind of up and down the edge of the parking lot, right?
Correct.
Okay, so if there are shells on the edge of the parking lot, would the shooter be on the right hand of the shells or on the left hand of the shells, knowing that you know what kind of weapon was used?
Normally it would be on the left-hand side,
And why is that?
because typically that weapon, or the most common ejection pattern, is usually to the right and slightly rear.
Right. So, and it's called the ejection port.
It comes out of the ejection port, yes.
And so they've heard this already, but just to make sure you and I are on the same page, there's a long rifle with an ejection port. The magazine comes in, you chamber it, you have a trigger inside the trigger guard. Once you shoot, then the casing is discharged to the right, correct?
Yeah, when the bolt comes back, it's extracted, ejected, usually to the right and maybe slightly rear. Kind of from if you're looking at a clock, the muzzle would be 12 o'clock, the stock would be 6. Most of them are going to be at 3 to 4:30.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
And so if the shells are here, roughly, I mean, they're a little bit, but there's a collection of them, you know that.
Yes.
Then you agree with me that the shooter is to the left of those shells, that shell line.
That'd be the most probable position, yes. Unless there was manipulation of the weapon, something like that. But the most probable position, if it was fired in a normal position, he would be to the left of that.
But there were no spent shell casings found out to the right in that open area, to your knowledge?
To my knowledge, no. Again, I didn't work the outside.
Okay.
I didn't work that. We went over to classroom 24 just based on some intel that there was the cartridge casings found out there. So we went out there just to make sure nothing was shot in that direction.
1 second, sir.
Okay.
Please be done. Please be done.
Thank you, sir. Pass the witness, Judge.
Do you have any evidence that the shooter in this case used this wrong trigger guard when he grabbed the gun?
Is that the one that the defense counsel was referring
The
to?
misfire? Yeah. Do you have any evidence in this case that the gunman, that the shots he fired were misfires?
Are we talking about misfire? Because misfire and accidental discharge are completely separate.
Let me ask about accidental discharge.
Okay.
What's your definition of an accidental discharge?
It's when the gun was fired when it wasn't intended to be. Somebody hit the trigger when they weren't intending to hit it and the gun fires.
Is there any evidence in this case of the gunman engaged in an accidental discharge?
Not that I'm aware of, no.
And would you go back to that exhibit that you just showed the jury? No.
Please repeat that a semi-automatic rifle only has a 150-meter range. I would love to hear that again.
Yeah.
And I believe the defense repeatedly said, if there are casings here, and you said you didn't recall that. Is that correct?
I recall when we were walking from seeing some flags for casings where I just don't remember the exact precise location, but I do remember casings being in that area.
Is this pavement?
Yes, it is.
Do you recall seeing any casings on pavement?
Not that I recall, no.
Okay, and how many times did the defense attorney ask you about casings being in this area on the pavement?
Judge, I didn't say that. I said the grass area behind the pavement.
He pointed right here, didn't he?
My understanding was he was talking about the grass area. That's what I was assuming. He was talking about the grass area.
Well, let's take a look at what the evidence shows, okay?
Fuck you, prosecutor.
Yeah.
This guy is good for the defense, but maybe not for the right reasons.
Yeah.
Please be done.
Are there any casings on the pavement?
No, not that I see. Again, like I said, they were marked with flags, and we obviously can't stick a flag in asphalt, so they're on the grass.
And exhibits 112, 113, 111, those have been identified as being casings. Those are not on the pavement.
You remember when we talked about how
Yes.
casings
And
can
when you show
bounce?
the jury how far up the red flags go.
Looks like they go up kind of where the asphalt meets the concrete.
Would you approach the photograph and show the jury how far up those red flags go?
They go up to your, a little past that drainage, where the drainage goes under the sidewalk, and then they come across.
And from that position, is there a line of fire to the defect that you found in room 24 that you've been talking about today?
Yes, there is.
And evidence of an accidental discharge could be a defect high and away from any targets that could be shot at.
It could be, yes.
Right. So if you have evidence of a bunch of damage, like on the west side of Robb Elementary, and then you have what we call a one-off, right? A one-off high and above any potential target, that could be evidence of an accidental discharge as someone is swinging a rifle.
Yeah, I can't rule that out.
Right. Pass the witness, Judge.
And it could be evidence of somebody shooting from the hip.
It could be, yes. I can't rule that out either.
And have you said that you've seen people shoot high in these kind of shootings?
I have, yes.
So you do have evidence that people shoot high in active shooter situations?
Yes.
The fucking Spanish Inquisition was kinder than this. Let's get this on.
Yes. Please be done.
That's the witness.
No further questions, Judge. Thank you, sir.
Yes.
No, sir.
No, sir.
All right, sir, you're excused. The rule has been invoked. Don't discuss the case till you're aware the trial's over with, all right? Thank you very much.
May I have a point of clarification at the bench?
Okay.
One clarification on the bench. Okay. That would be, now we should be at sidebar number 7.
Okay. I do not have a sidebar counter, but I do take notes, so I wrote down that we were at 6, so it's in my notebook.
And
You
I
know-
mean,
As a juror, what I would want to know about this officer, was he frequently over at Rob? Was he familiar with things? I would want to know how many times in the course of a week he would go over there. Would he be called over there every time there was a bailout? Did he have to release the school from lockdown? Those are things that would be
Yeah.
helpful to know.
yeah. Because, I mean, he's a school resource officer at a high school, which is
Yes.
a few minutes away. So is he the one, or do they send somebody from somewhere else? That would be a really interesting fact to know.
Yeah, I mean, was he aware that he was covering the high school, and then, he was the one that they would call if Rob needed help? Was
Yeah.
there, I mean, again, these would be pertinent things that would actually help us understand if he was craptastic at his job.
If you want to pull out the single photograph from each one and just bring them up, we can all look at them.
And, I mean, trials don't typically take 2 or 3 weeks. This is out of the norm. But most trials are, 1 to 2 days, maybe 3. The fact that the state has yet to get to a point where they've, proved any element on what they're supposed to be proving, it's maddening. Now, what
Yeah.
they're probably doing is the defense has had an objection to autopsy or crime scene photos being placed in because, as we know, Mr. Gonzalez was not the one that shot anyone. So they have argued that this is gratuitous, it's emotionally, manipulative, it's overkill, basically. Now, the state has argued that they have the right to put this in because they have to prove what happened due to the supposed negligence. And I do think there's a fundamental difference between the way the defense sees the case and the state does. Because I think the state is pulling in the time after he went into the room, the shooter did, whereas the defense thinks it's clearly defined as right before.
Yeah. Or before he entered the building, the moment he entered the building, so that is the focus they want to have. And the state wants, no, let's focus on the dead children. Please be done.
Good afternoon. Would you raise your right hand? You do solemnly swear
Oh,
the evidence of the
fuck.
testimony given the cause will be the truth, so help you God. All right. Have a seat over here. Adjust that microphone if you need to.
Oh, God, Trooper
Yeah.
85.
Tell us more about the marks in the buildings. Yeah.
Doctor, would you tell the jury your name, please?
Garrett
Oh.
Phillips.
Doctor.
And am I
Here we
correct
go.
in your here since first thing this morning.
Correct.
Appreciate you being here. Could you tell us what you do for a living?
I'm the Deputy Chief Medical Examiner at the Bexar County Medical
Yeah,
Examiner's
here we
Office.
go.
And what is the
Pictures
Bexar
of
County
dead
Medical
kids.
You guys, we are probably going to hear about wounds on children. It's going to be disturbing. We won't, if any pictures get through, we will go to this screen and we will try to describe to you what's happening. But be mindful of your mental health. This is not easy.
Examiner's office?
The Bexar County Medical Examiner's Office is a county office statutorily established by the laws of the state of Texas to investigate sudden, unexpected, and unnatural deaths within Bexar County.
And what is a Deputy Chief Medical Examiner?
Fundamentally, the Deputy Chief Medical Examiner is one of the staff medical examiners, which is to say a forensic pathologist who is involved in the examination of persons who have suffered sudden, unexpected, or unnatural deaths. The Deputy Chief part, however, comes with additional administrative duties that see me as second to the Chief Medical Examiner.
And further on definitions, you said both forensic and pathologist, is that correct?
Correct.
Could you start with pathology and what that is?
Pathology is a specialty of medicine. It is divided into two subspecialties, anatomic and clinical pathology. Anatomic pathology is the study of tissues removed from a human body. Those may be as small as individual cells in the case of cytopathology, all the way up to the entire deceased body as in autopsy pathology. Clinical pathology is the study of fluids removed from the body and tested in a laboratory setting. That is ultimately the specialty of pathology.
And how does forensic pathology differ from pathology?
Forensic pathology is a subspecialty within that area of anatomic pathology that I mentioned.
Did we lose the...
Through both lungs is going to cause significant bleeding, and it's going to
Things that you talked about it first.
first the thoracic.
Where did we...
Oh, so it's describing the injuries. Oh, they might have technical issues.
Okay, and it might be that the judge also said we won't be televising this.
Yeah.
And that's the number that your department assigned?
That's correct.
And initially there was an A by that name, and that was also a way the children were identified?
Initially.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I'm sorry, Mo, but I have to prepare for my stream.
Were there...
No problem. If you want to go ahead and let people know.
Yeah. Slightly Buzzed Friday Law Show. We're going to talk about Young Thug's civil suit, which he won. He gets his stuff back. And let's just say here, it is $149,000 in currency, Chevrolet Corvette, a Porsche 911, a Mercedes-Benz Maybach, and two Mercedes AMG, one Jeep Grand Cherokee, one Dodge Durango, one Lamborghini Aventador, one Can-Am Spider. There are firearms, which he won't get back. Plus assorted jewelry described in about $250,000 in assorted jewelry, about $500,000 in watches, but we know that one watch has been missing since the raid. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to have a brew of choice. It's going to be a fun, light-hearted stream where we make fun of Fulton County District Attorney's Office. So that is in 20 minutes.
Yes. So I will be manning in the 2020 sense, or 2020 26 sense of the word, I will be manning the last little bit of this tour on the Petty Express.
Yeah. So once this stream is over, get over to my place and
Yes,
let's
you'll be redirected.
let's have some fun, some light-hearted fun to get our minds a bit, so we enter the weekend on happy notes.
Yes.
All right, I will see you soon.
Okay.
Yep, bye.
Bye.
Did Mr. Garcia receive wounds?
Yes.
And were any of those wounds, did they cause death?
Yes.
And what type of wounds caused Mr. Garcia's death?
The most significant wound in this case was a gunshot wound that entered the back. That wound ultimately, most significantly, went through both lungs as well as the thoracic vertebral column, injuring the spinal cord. After having traversed both lungs, it did enter the abdomen and injure the spleen as well.
Okay. You talked about several organs here, and I just want to do it with the first child so we can get used to that, okay? Could you kind of go through the organs that you talked about it penetrated, what the function of those organs are, and why penetrating those organs would be a cause of death?
So in this case, going through both lungs is going to cause significant bleeding, and it's going to impair the ability to breathe. Going through the vertebral column and transecting the spinal cord is going to cause a loss of sensation and motor function below that level at the thoracic level. To clarify, there are several levels of the spine. The cervical spine is the neck, the thoracic spine is in the chest, and then the lumbar and sacral spine are in the abdomen and pelvis. So this was in the region of the chest. The splenic injury, the spleen is a vascular organ, and so that would be expected to also contribute to the bleeding in addition to the lung injuries.
And could you show us just generally on your body the general direction or pathway of that gunshot wound?
So this wound entered in the back relatively high here, and it's going to go across and end up in the abdomen somewhere around here.
And in your opinion, that a gunshot wound caused his death?
Yes.
And were there other wounds that he suffered?
There was an additional wound.
Could you describe that for us?
That was a entrance wound of the chest. However, only a projectile fragment was recovered, and that wound path was very superficial.
This is incredibly cruel of the state. I have not been a fan of the way they've run the trial, but to leave this the last thing that the jury remembers and has to keep with them for an entire weekend is incredibly on brand for them to try to have as much emotional impact, clouding their decisions. It's just, it's so... Using someone's grief, someone's pain like this is just so incredibly gross.
So it would not have led to death?
That wound was much less significant, and yes, I could envision that wound not leading to death.
Any other findings of significance to share with this jury?
There were some other apparent ballistic injuries or fragmentary impacts on other parts of the body.
And could you explain those for us?
Anytime a projectile fragments, which at least one of these fragments did, or anytime there are other projectiles that have been fired in the vicinity that have fragmented, those can bounce or ricochet off of nearby structures, or they can perforate nearby structures and cause blunt impacts to the body that would cause these sorts of ballistic fragmentary injuries.
And so whether the bullet passed through another object or ricocheted off of it, you can't say?
Not given these findings. I couldn't be more specific.
Okay. And also, as far as distance determination, are you able to determine how far a weapon was from a body when the body received that gunshot wound?
In some cases, yes.
And in this case, was it very limited, the time that you found somebody with a very close gunshot wound?
In this specific case, I could not definitively say that there was evidence of close-range firing. However, the reason that those other ballistic or fragmentary impacts can be important is because those can, on some level, mimic close-range firing, and so that will complicate the evaluation. So in this case, I do at least have those fragmentary injuries, but I don't have anything that I could definitively say was close-range.
And could you tell us how you determine distance and what the different levels of distance are when pathologists are looking at gunshot wounds?
Your Honor, I'm sorry, if I could make a recommendation just to reduce the secondary trauma that can be suffered. If we can just, we don't have to have the picture up while we're talking about distance and things like that. If we can have the picture, take it down, and then picture for the next one, I think it would be appreciated.
It's their case. However you want to proceed, Mr. Turner, go ahead.
Our problem is the PowerPoint just moves to the next child.
He can
I
click
guess
the
we
button.
can.
Click the button and it goes on.
You can click it off. That's fine. That's fine.
Go ahead, proceed.
And we were talking about distance determinations. Can you tell how far a weapon was from the body when the body received the wound?
Correct. So in some cases that is possible. When a gun is fired, the bullet obviously is going to exit the muzzle of the gun. However, more than just the bullet will also exit the weapon. There can be particles of burning and unburnt gunpowder, as well as residues of combustion. If the gun is fired in close enough proximity to the skin, those additional items can sometimes impact or deposit upon the skin. And so those findings that we would most typically look for would be soot, which is an amorphous grayish black residue that is the products of combustion, that's the smoke coming out of the gun, or powder tattooing, which are very, well, I should say, relatively regular punctate abrasions that are caused by the burning and unburnt particles of gunpowder striking the skin and abrading it and embedding into the skin. Beyond that range, it is possible for gunpowder to deposit on the skin, although because it lacks mass, it can no longer abrade the skin. In addition, under those ranges, if the muzzle of the gun is actually directly in contact with the skin, we can see contusions, abrasions, or lacerations associated with the muzzle of the gun on the skin.
And is there a name for the muzzle that's on the skin?
That would be a contact wound.
And what are the other classifications?
The other classifications would be near contact, depending on how much you want to lump or split. Something that's relatively near contact would probably be expected to have soot. That is, and this is a very fuzzy number, somewhere in the vicinity of the first 12 inches away from the muzzle. Now again, many variables are going to affect the actual distance, so the only real way to get a harder number than what I'm providing is to test fire the actual weapon against a witness panel with the actual ammunition used. But again, as a rough guide, about a foot. For powder tattooing, somewhere in the range of 3 to 4 to 5 feet is where powder tattooing will cease. For gunpowder particulate deposition, a very broad range, anywhere from 9 to 21 feet, gunpowder particles can begin to cease being deposited on the skin. As we move beyond that, we will have no evidence of close range firing. Some people would call that distant, although it's also reasonable to call that indeterminate because, again, depending on many of these variables, there may be different reasons why you're not seeing evidence of close range firing.
Thank you very much. And so we have talked about the wound that caused death. We've also talked about a chest wound, and you were talking about this third kind of abrasive wound. Is that correct?
So in this case, there were the fragmentary injuries.
Fragment wounds. Next, turn to State's Exhibit 740. If you could display that. Mr. Rogelio Torres. And is that your autopsy number 1380?
Correct.
And is there a wound depicted in State's Exhibit 740?
A wound is seen.
And what's the nature of that one?
That is a wound that is adjacent to the right eyebrow.
But that was not a life-threatening one?
In this case, that was described as a graze wound.
A graze?
Graze, correct.
Thank you. You can turn it up. Could you tell us then what your findings were as to Mr. Torres?
In this case, 12 gunshot wounds were noted. The injuries that were produced included the brain, the right lung, liver, right kidney, thoracic spine and spinal cord, as well as the right humerus, which is to say the long bone of the upper arm.
Okay. And each one of those wounds, those 12 wounds, were capable of causing death?
They're all potentially going to contribute. Of course, a wound that is traversing the brain is going to very likely be causative of death in the absence of the rest. However, if you take out, for instance, the wound traversing the brain, a combination of liver, kidney, thoracic spine, long bone fracture, and lung.
It's a tiny little body. They can't sustain that much damage. Do we really need to do this?
Injury might well also be productive of death. But again, these were all collectively present, and so they were all considered as collectively causing death.
And any other non-life-threatening wounds?
Again, some of the other findings, such as the graze wound, would have been present. So there was the graze wound on the right eyebrow. There were some additional less physiologically significant wounds that didn't cause major neurovascular or organ injuries that were present.
Thank you. Exhibit 741, Miranda Mathis.
Just for recap purposes, I am writing down the number. I'm not taking down names. It's breaking my heart to even write down the numbers, and I don't agree with the state doing this, so I'm not going to be using these children the way the state is. So I'll just say the number. I'll kind of vaguely describe what the wounds were, but I won't be going into their names and things like that on the recap.
Yes.
Could you tell us what your findings are in regard to Miranda Mathis?
In this case, there were 12 gunshot wounds. The significant injuries included the heart, both lungs, the liver. There were injuries to the cervical spine and spinal cord, that is, again, in the neck, skull base fractures, and there were injuries to the larynx and trachea, that is to say, the windpipe, basically, as well as the pelvis.
And any non-life-threatening wounds?
There were some additional injuries that, again, the ones that I described are the ones that are sort of the most physiologically significant. There were some additional.
Let's just stay with those unless you find a wound that you consider significant as to whether or not it was a contact or close contact, something that would make it different from the other wounds you're describing.
So in this case, there were 3 of the gunshot wounds that in this case did demonstrate the gunpowder tattooing that were mentioned. And there was some additional gunpowder tattooing on the right hand.
And does that suggest range?
So this would be indicative of close range firing.
And that would be?
That would be the powder tattooing, so as we described it, the intermediate range.
And the distance would be about what?
As I said, somewhere in the vicinity of that 3 to 4 to 5 feet is when that begins to cease, so I would expect under that, but in order to get a better number, it would be necessary to test fire the weapon with the ammunition used.
Somewhere around 3, 4, 5 feet away.
That's where it ceases.
And
So
it's
if it's present, it's somewhere within that.
closer than that.
Correct.
Thank you. State's Exhibit 742. Alethea Ramirez.
Correct. In this case, there were 4 gunshot wounds. There were injuries to the brain, both lungs, the aorta, left femoral vein, the pelvis, and left femur. The femur is the long bone in the thigh, and an injury to the trachea.
And those were the significant findings.
Those were the significant injuries, yes.
And each of them were gunshot wounds.
Gunshot wounds, correct.
Thank you. Exhibit 743. Bea Bravo.
Correct. In this case, the decedent had 8 gunshot wounds. The significant injuries included the brain, the major neurovascular structures of the right forearm, and the left upper arm, and fractures of the right radius and ulna. Those are the long bones within the forearm.
And any of those sufficient in and of themselves to cause death?
Certainly the brain injury, yes.
State's Exhibit 744. Ileana Torres.
Correct. In this case, there were 13 gunshot wounds. There were injuries to the heart, the left lung.
This monster is dead, and gosh, I wish he wasn't, and I wish, allegedly in Minecraft, I would have been okay with a little bit of the Spanish Inquisition. And maybe we do need to know the horror, so we all collectively work on making this never happen again. And if the state had a good case, maybe I could see a reason.
The left upper arm vasculature, the liver, the facial bones, cervical spine, and the left humerus.
And was it a combination of the wounds or was it just a single wound that caused the death?
In this case, the heart wound itself would probably have been sufficient, but the rest were significant as well.
Thank you. State's Exhibit 745, Layla Salazar.
Correct. Sorry, could I see that real quick?
Yeah, you can.
Just confirm the number. Yes, thank you. In this case, there were 4 gunshot wounds. There were injuries to the left internal jugular vein, that is the major vein that brings blood from the head back to the heart. In addition to that, there were injuries to the left lung, the cervical and thoracic spine and cord, the tibia, which is the long bone in the shin, and there were skull fractures with intracranial bleeding, that is to say bleeding surrounding the brain, even though in this case the projectile did not traverse the cranial cavity. It went close enough to cause bleeding inside the head.
It passed enough energy in to cause bleeding inside the brain.
Correct.
746, Annabelle Rodriguez.
Correct. In this case, there were 5 gunshot wounds. The right carotid artery and jugular vein were injured. Again, the carotid artery takes blood to the brain. The jugular vein returns it from the brain. Both lungs were injured, and the thoracic spine and cord, as well as the larynx, were injured. Likewise, with the injuries to the cord, what you will sometimes see is that blood will then enter the cranial cavity. So there was some subarachnoid hemorrhage, which is a type of bleeding inside the head surrounding the brain.
Thank you.
JC, Uvalde, 747.
Correct. In this case, there were 3 gunshot wounds. The brain, the cervical spine, and the spinal cord were injured.
And each of these were gunshot wounds?
These are all from gunshot wounds.
All the wounds that you described for us are gunshot wounds, is that correct?
That's correct.
No other weapon caused any injury to this child?
None that was, no, it did not appear so. In fact, in each case, although we haven't specified it, projectile fragments were recovered associated with each autopsy.
Okay, associated with gunshot wound?
Part of the bullet, basically.
So that confirms for you that these are all gunshot wounds?
One of the things, yes.
Exhibit 748, Ileana Garcia.
Correct. In this case, there were 5 gunshot wounds. The skull was fractured, again with that same type of bleeding inside the head, subarachnoid hemorrhage. There were also injuries to the right axillary artery and vein. The axillary artery and vein are the major blood vessels that run from the chest into the arm.
Tess Mata, State's Exhibit 749.
Correct. In this case, there were 5 gunshot wounds. The internal injury was the brain.
Okay, could you explain that a little bit more?
Yes, there was an entry wound of the face that did traverse the cranial cavity. There were additional injuries of the back, buttocks, and left upper extremity. However, these did not cause significant internal organ injuries.
Thank you. Matthew Rodriguez, 750.
Correct. In this case, there were 3 gunshot wounds. The brain and the right lung were the major internal injuries.
Jayla Seguero, number 751.
Correct. In this case, there were 2 gunshot wounds. Both lungs were injured. The aorta was injured. The aorta is the major blood vessel that comes off of the heart and carries blood to the remainder of the body. And the thoracic spine was also injured.
Thank you. State's Exhibit 752, Amory Joe Garza.
He's the medical examiner, but you're behind, so I never figure out how. Look,
Correct. In this case, there was 1 gunshot wound, which injured the heart, right lung, liver. Those were the major internal injuries.
It was just one wound, but it went.
Yes.
Could you just show us how that traversed?
Yes, that's correct. This wound entered the back about here, and it went from back to front. And as it went from back to front, it went through the lung, the heart, the liver, and then was recovered from within the body.
753 McKenna Elrod.
Correct. In this case, there were 4 gunshot wounds. The injuries included both lungs, the brachiocephalic artery. That is one of the major branches of the aorta in the chest that ultimately is going to split off into the right subclavian and the right carotid arteries and carry blood to the head and the right arm. In addition, the left femur, both tibias, and the trachea were injured.
Exhibit 754, Alexandria Rubio. Oh, I'm sorry.
Sorry.
Go too quick.
Super T, be warned, we are at the medical examiner. He's talking about the medical exams on the children who lost their lives. So if this isn't the testimony that you want to watch, or it's not easy testimony. So I just want to warn you.
Correct. In this case, there were 2 gunshot wounds. The major internal injury was the brain. The additional wound was a superficial gunshot wound to the back.
And State's Exhibit 755, Xavier Lopez.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Too quick.
Correct. In this case, there were 3 gunshot wounds. Both lungs were injured, as well as the thoracic spine and spinal cord. In addition, there was a wound that perforated the scalp. It did not go into the cranial cavity. However, it did cause bleeding inside the head, subdural and subarachnoid hemorrhage. Well, I should say, let me back up. It could have contributed to that bleeding. In addition, the injuries to the spinal cord lower down could have contributed to that bleeding.
Thank you. And is that the final report on the children that y'all did pathology on?
No, I have a couple more.
Of children or?
Yes.
Okay, could you share with us your next one?
My next.
Okay. Fuck you, prosecutor. You had this man come up. You had these parents have to sit through. These are the last images that these kids were, and bullets aren't a clean and easy thing. So fuck you, prosecutor, that you couldn't remember exactly how many children you were decided to swing their bodies in front of the jury. Excuse my French. I try not to curse too whole much, but what an absolute thunder cunt.
This one is case number 22-1399.
And can you tell us about that, and I'll come back with the name. My apologies.
Yes, in that case, there was a single gunshot wound that injured the heart, both lungs, and the aorta. This case also demonstrated soot.
And what does the soot mean?
So the soot is the close range firing that is, again, within that 1 foot distance.
And your final autopsy?
The case number is 2022-1400.
Okay. And we'll provide those with a future witness.
Yes, in this case, we had a single gunshot wound. That was a wound of the head injuring the brain and skull.
And thank you for doing all the work
that it took to make these findings. Let me ask you, if I'm pushing too far, I don't mind going to somebody more familiar. But as a pathologist and reviewing the photos in this case, are you comfortable testifying that these were all children under 15 years of age?
Judge will stipulate to it.
I believe we have a stipulation that these were all children under 15 years of age.
Yes, Your Honor, we will.
Pass the witness.
Okay, then court will take judicial notice of the stipulation.
Pass the witness.
Your Honor, I guess before I start, I just ask out of respect for the children and their families that this exhibit be sealed by the court, that it cannot be accessed by the public, that it stays with the court, because I believe that would be necessary to present.
I had already instructed the court reporter as to that, so.
Yes, Your Honor, I didn't know you had, but I appreciate you doing so. Dr. Phillips, you and I, we know each other, actually.
Yes, sir.
I'll tell you this, I hate to see you here, but I do appreciate what you did to document what that monster did to those children, and I'll pass the witness.
That's all, Your Honor.
Is he excused, not subject to recall?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Goss?
No, Your Honor, we don't need him for recall.
All right. Thank you, Doctor.
Let me see. We're gonna take a short break, ladies and gentlemen, 10 minutes to take care of another matter. So remember my instructions. We'll see you back in 10. Would everyone rise for the jury? You let me know when you're ready.
I'm the world's worst Christian, but I know I'm going to be adding the jury and all the families, all the victims, the community into my prayers tonight, because I didn't see any of the photos and my heart's broken, and I can't imagine what it was like if those were my children. And good on the defense for just short and sweet and not going into things. The state has lost my respect, especially when he's like, that's all the kids you did. Again, you're the one that made us sit through these. Could you have respect? I will probably be waiting to do a breakdown of this till tomorrow, because I feel like my breakdown would only be fuck the prosecution. And I do take a lot of notes, so I'd rather do it when I can say more than fuck you, you C word, and bitch burrito, and any sort of combination of words I can say. And I don't know what we're arguing about now. Maybe we are going to have the next medical examiner and get all of this testimony done. I do appreciate that the ME was trying to keep this down. But the defense stipulated to this. And the funny thing is, you know, Nick and I, when this case first came out, when we saw the footage of the officers standing around, all of the community and parents had gotten together to make kind of memorial pages about the kids. Each child had a page. And Nick and I sat for about an hour going back and forth reading about these children, about them alive, what they were like, what the world lost. And that was so impactful on me. We had to take breaks and alternate because we couldn't get through this. And if the family members ever come by here, I want them to know that I remember your children as those bright, shining, beautiful angels. Yeah. Good on the judge for seeing that they needed a break, but Oh, no problem, King Bob. Actually, this is live. It is live. But I do worry that we are in for more ME testimony, because as much as I hate the state, I think it's going to be prudent of them to get it all done in one chunk. Yeah, absolutely. That's the ironic thing, is you could show the impact of what the world lost. And I mean, to a certain extent, every parent that saw that footage was enraged for all those parents sitting out there, for every parent who had a second of worry at that school, wondering where the hell their kids were, while officers were standing out there and arresting parents who wanted to go save their children. Because every parent had to sit down and think, okay, what would we do? I mean, my husband and I had to sit down and talk about, because I told him point blank, you better have me some bail money, because my cripple behind is gonna need some bail money, allegedly, in Minecraft. So the prosecutors are pulling, yeah. And it's the sheer laziness that they couldn't even tailor a case to this, that they had to use the case that they were planning to use on the monster. And I am not sure that, yeah, I mean, I've said it before and I've said it again. The monster is dead and you're left with incompetence and cowardice. And I don't know that this police officer is going to get charged. I do think that if the state can make a cogent case, the chief isn't going to walk. But I don't know if the state can put together a cogent case, because they seem to not even read their own documents. But I really do. I hope that every single one of those parents has the support they need to get through this incredibly rough time. I hope that the community has the support they need. Because I don't know what they're getting from the DA, but none of this is productive. And yeah, I wish I were super-de-duper smart and could figure out how to stop all this without, curtailing freedoms. But I don't know. I mean, my general motto is don't be an asshole. And my other motto is whatever bullshit you're going through doesn't mean you get to be a cockhead to anyone else. This is why my church has different, this is why my church is kind of bad, because all of my mottos are, full of curse words, but they're generally the golden rule: don't be a dick. And I do think that the state very much, very, very much might have misstepped with this this testimony. Because these are not normal pictures that everyone sees. And now the jury has seen, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19 possible autopsies, plus whatever we missed when there was that technical difficulty.
Okay, please be seated in the courtroom. State.
Your Honor, we do have the last two children that the pathologist talked about, and
Judge, we have talked to the prosecution, we've agreed to allow them to show the jury and to tell the kids' names.
Okay. So, ladies and gentlemen, for identification purposes, they've agreed to allow the photographs to be shown without the pathologist testifying. He already did testify about them, but to just tie it up.
Yes, Your Honor, and I would be, if I could be clear, without waiving any previous objections that we've made, it's just in this circumstance, the situation, first assuming the court would have the same ruling, and we would, that's why we're making that accommodation.
Correct.
These are photographs of Jacqueline Casares and Javier Lopez.
they were displayed in Your Honor.
Okay.
And that was number 1399, and that's the last autopsy that the pathologist talked about, and then 1400. Thank you.
All right.
And it was 1400.
Javier Lopez.
Okay, thank you. Your next witness.
State House Jennifer Lugo.
Your Honor, I do believe that this, the subject matter of this witness would go into a motion of limine that we've raised previously. I don't know if you'd like us to approach her.
We're just going to talk about the events that day. Well,
if you'd like us to approach.
Okay. Come on up. Just 1 second, man. We'll get you right up here.
I do wonder if the defense is going to make the argument that after the autopsy photos, going into another emotional testimony before the weekend might be too much for the jury. And lady lawyers, it's called the back of your head, it's called a brush, it's called use it. Yeah, also, who did your highlights, sweetheart? I mean, were you trying to get a balayage or what? Blindness? I'm confused. Oh, sweetheart, did you use one of those caps? Oh no, sweetheart, that's why it didn't work. Now, I used the caps, but I also used purple shampoo, so.
Good afternoon. Would you raise your right hand, please? You do solemnly swear the evidence and the testimony given in this cause will be the truth, so help you God. All right, please have a seat over here. That microphone will adjust so make it comfortable for you and try to speak up so everybody can hear you.
Good afternoon. Could you please state your name for the record?
Jennifer Garcia.
And Ms. Garcia, where do you currently reside? Don't tell me the address, it's the town.
With my wigs, I do, because I always am really self-conscious that people are going to realize I'm wearing a wig in public. And I don't want people to ask me, because there might be an assumption if I'm wearing a wig that maybe I have a sickness, and I don't ever want to get into the conversation of no, I just like to pretend I'm not me if I have to people, because then people look at you weird. So yeah, I actually do pay pretty good attention to the back of my hair when I'm wearing a wig. When it's my own hair, not so much. Go figure.
In the county.
Uvalde, Texas.
Okay. And I'm going to take you back to the day of May 24th of 2022. On that day, did you have a child that went to Robb Elementary?
Yes, I had one.
And what was her name?
Ileana Amaya Garcia.
And where is Robb Elementary? Just to clarify for the record, is that in Uvalde County?
Yes.
Okay. And you dropped her off at school that morning?
Yes.
Okay. And what was there something special about that day?
Just that they were having an awards ceremony for the end of the year, school year.
Okay. And was it a normal morning for you when you dropped her off?
Yeah, I mean, I have more other children, so I dropped them off, made my rounds, dropped her off, and then went home just to get ready for the awards.
And did you attend the awards ceremony that morning?
Yes.
And did she, in fact, receive an award?
She did. She received one. I believe it was like a helping kind of student award.
And were you there to see her get that award?
Yes.
And did y'all take pictures and all that?
We did. She took a picture with her sister and a picture with her with the certificate.
Now, at some point, did you hear that there was something happening at Robb Elementary?
Not at that moment, not until I went home shortly after.
Okay, so you left her at school that day?
I did. She wanted to come home. She asked if she could come.
God damn it, don't do this to this mom. Jesus Christ, you don't think she doesn't think every fucking minute of every fucking day that she should have taken her kid home? God damn it. Okay, I'm gonna take a break real quick.
Come home, but I told her no, to stay in school, because after the awards earlier that week, I believe we had gave the teacher $2. They were all gonna pitch in for pizza and have like a movie fun day kind of thing. So I told her no, that she didn't need to come home for her to stay at school, and that I would pick her up later.
Okay. And at some point, so you returned back to your home?
Yes.
Okay. And at some point, did you return back to Robb Elementary School?
I did. After shortly getting home, not that long ago, a neighbor came and asked where my girls were. I told her they all went to school but one. And she's like, okay, well, you need to get to Robb ASAP. And I'm like, why? What's going on? She's like, there's something going on. They believe that there's a shooter at the school. So I just grabbed the baby, jumped in the car. I believe we both went barefooted. She met me there. She took the baby, and I just started running, and there was just chaos. I mean, there was.
I'm gonna be drinking over on Nick's stream. That's I don't generally drink, so I don't know. When you lose someone, you're always gonna second guess yourself, and how fucking dare the state prosecution use this? How fucking dare them? Sorry, like I said, y'all, I try not to curse too much, because then I curse in front of my kids. Then youngest most feral says the F word, and I have to explain it to his super Catholic school, or Christian school. So I try not to cuss, but fuck.
30 people, cops there. I mean, everything was just hectic.
And at some point, were you directed to the Civic Center?
Yes, well, shortly after waiting there, seeing what's going on, asking where my daughter was, we couldn't find her. Kids were just running everywhere. Kids were loading up on the EMS. Shortly after we couldn't find ours, they're all like, well, just check hospitals, but they redirected everybody to the Civic Center to wait for any updates because they were still trying to get all the children directed that way.
Okay. And once you got to the Civic Center in Uvalde, what happened there?
It was just like we just had to wait for any updates. I mean, we waited there for a couple hours. Unfortunately, ours, I want to say we were the second, third to last parents. At the end of the day, about 9ish, 10 to find out that one of our children was one of the deceased.
Okay. And who told you that your daughter had died?
I don't know, was it, I don't think they were DPS. It was some officers that were in a room. I don't remember who they were.
Okay. And how old was your daughter when she passed away?
9.
And was her birthday coming up?
Yes, her birthday was supposed to be.
Okay. You twat waffle, cunt cannoli, bitch burrito. Really? Just bring up the birthday? God, I mean, like I have seen less sadistic people run camps in Austria in 1930s. Jesus, Mary and Joseph.
June 4th.
Okay.
The weekend after that week.
Okay. And again, state her name.
Ileana Amaya Garcia.
Thank you. Pass the witness.
Ms. Garcia, I'm so sorry for your loss. That's terrible. And I pray to God for his peace for you and your family. I'll pass the witness.
No more questions, Your Honor.
Okay, is she subject to recall or is she excused to remain in the courtroom if she so desires?
She's excused. We had talked about that, and I guess if we could approach on that, but for the moment, there was supposed to be an agreement, and I don't know if we've actually made that agreement.
Well, I mean, if she's not subject to recall, anyway.
Yes, Your Honor, there were some conditions that we spoke about that I don't think we've actually revisited, but at this moment, we.
Well, ma'am, you've testified you're not subject to recall. At this time, it's up to you. You can have a seat in the courtroom or go about your business, whatever you'd like to do. All right? Thank you.
That was our last witness for the day, Your Honor.
Okay. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to end a little early. We will resume at 9 o'clock on Monday morning. It's extremely important you remember my instructions. Please don't read anything, watch anything, or listen to anything that may be in the media about the case. Don't talk to anybody about the case. Don't let anybody talk to you. Should some of you get here early and you're in the jury room without the other jurors, remember, don't talk about the case. Wait until all the evidence is in. Have a wonderful weekend, and would everyone rise for the jury?
All right. Well, typically I would take this time to do a rundown of the day and do a breakdown, but I'm going to be really honest with you guys. My breakdown today is fuck the prosecutors. And I'm going to send you over to Nick's stream so we can all partake in the wheel of regret. Now, normally I wouldn't encourage maladaptive coping mechanisms beyond junk food eating for a bad day, but this is a special circumstance, and I am giving myself my own papal dispensation. So thank you guys so much for joining us. And I appreciate you guys for hanging out. This is definitely sick. And I pray that mama knows from another mom that I am sure that she was that little girl's safe space. And yeah, we aren't the sum of the mistakes we make as a mom. We're the nest we make for the mom or for our kids. Anyway, I'm going to go get some booze. Bye.